Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode number 7 here in our FABRIcation Skybase. I have a little bit of an issue. I started to record an episode, and my microphone wasn't working. And normally, if that happened, I would roll back to the last backup from the end of my last episode and start over. But I have been working on this one for hours. And what I did in that time was I expanded out the rest of this island, and I've created a new one over here, and I sifted gravel for hours to get prismarine shards, and that was all to make this alloy forge. And so I'm not going to roll back. I'm just going to go forward. Unfortunately, we missed that. We're going to move on with that anyway. That was part of this quest here. To get our alloy forge set up. That is how we make andesite alloy. Andesite alloy is the beginning of the building blocks for create, and so after that we're moving into the mechanical age here. Right now we're working on making the 16 andesite alloy. We need to start here. Create is a mod for anybody that hasn't used it. It is a tech mod that is built all around the idea of building actual structures in the world that interact to create things. And it's a really cool mod. I haven't played with it myself yet. I've only ever seen other people playing with it. I'm excited to get into it. But because of the way it works, instead of it using an electrical system or an energy system, it uses what's called the rotational force system. And so it's all about using objects that create rotational force. And then the stress from the rotational force is used to move objects. So for example, we have a shaft that is connected to a system that creates rotation, and then we use gears and cogs that connect that to other machines, like a mechanical press, which creates objects in the world. It's a press. So instead of having a single block machine that does it, we have a large series of gears and shafts that cause the mechanical press to move, and that's how we create things. So, andesite alloy is made. We take andesite and we put in iron nuggets, and as long as we have enough heat in the alloy forge, it creates andesite alloy for us. And so now we have enough to finish the first quest there. We'll take our vegetable soup. That sounds great. And we're going to move on to the next step. So the next step is to make a shaft. I do want to show you something really cool when it comes to create, so let's bring this up. One of the things that I really like about this is, so when we look at the shaft, if we don't know what a shaft does, oops, still in the menu, we can go in here, and anytime we're looking at the item, we can hold down W, it brings up the ponder system. So the ponder system is a representation in here that shows us how the objects work. So this shows us that a shaft is connected to things that rotate, and they rotate and cause gears to rotate. When we do encased shafts, it uses different blocks to do that. And that's all we have for our ponder for this. This also shows us we can move on to the next thing. This shows us all the different kinetic blocks. So from here we can go on to see how cogs work. We can see how the large cogwheel works. And there's multiple steps that show us all kinds of things about it. So it has a really, really beautiful system inside the game to show you how everything works. As far as building it, we still have our recipes here to show it. So to make shafts, we just need 2 andesite alloy right on top of each other. That'll make our first shafts. So let's take the reward from that. We're going to work our way right across here to get started. So after that, we need to work on cogwheels. So we need to make a cogwheel and a large cogwheel. So cogwheel, we take a shaft and any planks. So shaft and planks. That makes our first cogwheel. We also want a large cogwheel. So the large cogwheel, we take a shaft and 2 planks, or we take a cogwheel and a plank. So let's just do the cogwheel with the plank. And if you look at that, that's going to be the same recipe. So basically, we use one of these and 1 plank to make a cogwheel. Or we could use one of these and two to make a large cogwheel, but it's the same amount of materials. So it's just kind of nice. It's a way that we can craft them without having to have the crafting table. Speaking of that, I'm going to pull out my crafting table on a stick in case I need it. Let's take our reward from that. We got some steel. And the next thing is make andesite casings. So andesite casings, we actually have to place items into the world to do this. So that's what it's showing here, manual item application. So basically we need a stripped log and we apply an andesite alloy to it. Now I happen to know we're going to need a good bit of these. So let's do 16 of them. And then we're going to need our axe for this. So let's do this. Don't know if it's going to let us use the matic for this or not. We're going to find out. It's not. So I'm going to actually have to get an axe. I had lost my other axe that I made. So let's just do a... I don't know if I can do... I wonder if I can make an axe using andesite. Nope. Did not think so. Can I make a steel axe? Let's do it. And yes, I'm sure that there was much more important things I could make with steel, but I don't particularly like that it gives you things like steel early on in the game from rewards, so I probably wouldn't have used it anyway. I like to go through and get it done the correct way. So we're going to need a little more andesite, so let's grab it. Let's also get another... Oh, I did a lot more than I wanted. Let's get some more of this running. I think we can do it like that. I think it'll just pull out the ones from the top first. So there I have enough to make 2 more stacks of andesite alloy. So the way this works is we just go along and we right click with andesite alloy onto the stripped logs and it makes casings. And then I can just use vein mine to pick them all up. All right, so that gets us this. And now it wants us to make our first machine. So we need to make a mechanical press and a depot or a basin. I'm going to make one of each because we're going to need both of them coming up. So in here, we need to make mechanical press. We need to make a basin and we need a depot. So let's work on those. So a depot was pretty simple, andesite alloy and an andesite casing. We take one of those, and we take one of those. Give us a skulk sensor as a reward. That's interesting. Repackage these back up into iron, just to get them out of my inventory. Okay, so we have the depot. So we can take that one off. We need to make a basin. That's just 5 andesite alloys. So I need one more. Okay. What was the last thing we needed? The mixer. Mixer uses a shaft, a casing, and an iron block. So I have plenty of iron on me. So shaft, casing, iron block. All right, moving right along. Take our reward from that. Interesting. I don't know what those are used for. Are they just prettiness? Probably. Sure, yeah. Okay. I'm okay with decorative rewards. I think that's what they should do. Okay, so let's click on this one. There's no rewards, but this just shows that these units are things that generate stress units. And this down here are different contraption blocks. So I just needed to make one of these and I made a basin. Okay, I'll take my reward. My inventory is full. Okay. And then we have other ones we'll need to do too. This shows that these blocks are rotation relayers. So those are things we'll definitely have to get into and figure those out, all those work. And fans, mechanical drills, mechanical saws, millstones, mechanical mixers. So as you can see, Create has a lot of stuff. And so we're going to be in here for quite a while. But I think we're going to keep working up, just going through this way until we get to something where we actually need to pull something in from back here, which is going to be right now, because I'm going to need to make copper plates. And copper plates, we need to use a press, which means we're going to have to find a way to make the press rotate. So there are we could do a mechanical way to do it. There is I think it's just maybe it's an arm. No, it's a crank. Crank's the word I'm looking for. So if we look at the ponder on this, we can see you can connect a hand crank to make it so we can apply rotational force. But I don't want to be standing there applying rotational force all the time. So let's start with our first one, which is building a water wheel. So let's ponder this. So the way a water wheel works is water hits the water wheel connects to a shaft, and that creates rotational force for us. So we can make the water wheel look any way we want. It said that having water touching the side of it makes it so it rotates, and adding additional water does not increase that. So those are things to think about while we build it. But first thing we need to do, if we're going to make a water wheel, is actually build a water wheel. So let's get just a regular water wheel. It's going to require planks and a shaft. Those are all things we have. Let's check that out. Beautiful. Okay, I think I need to make a couple of chests. We have way too much stuff going on. Let's stick a chest over here on the side, just for us to put some stuff in. Keep a stack of iron on me because we'll probably need it. Yeah. So the water wheel is here. I need to get a bucket of water. I have one on me. I should probably set up a place where I have an infinite water supply on this side of the island. So let me go grab some more water to get that set up. Okay, I went and got another bucket of water. Oh, no, I actually didn't grab it, because I used it to make the cobblestone. While I was over there, I decided that I wanted to have some stone over here just to build with. And then I was thinking to myself, well, I could grab a few stacks of cobblestone, or I could craft a cobblestone generator and bring it over with us. And of course, I used one of the buckets of water when I did that. Silly me. Okay, so the water wheel is a pretty simple structure. I'm not quite sure where I want to start building this. I think I'm just going to keep over here on this side for now. But what we need is some blocks to build with, just so that we can build a place to put it. And I know from watching, you could do a couple of different things. So if we have... I'm just going to make it like that so I can place the water wheel on the side of it. We have water like that, and let me put down... Temporarily, I'm just going to put some blocks like this so I can put the water down and have an infinite source sitting here. If we just put water here, it's going to make the water wheel rotate. And I know from seeing other people with doing it, another fancy way to do it is to put the water wheel down like this. And then when we put water down like this, since it flows that way, oh, maybe that doesn't work. Apparently in this version it doesn't work. Oh, yeah, there it goes. Hold on, maybe I need a block here so that it only flows the one direction. Yeah, there we go. And since we only need it to hit one side of the wheel, we can do it like that. And it's going to rotate just fine. Adding extra water didn't make it go faster. That's what the ponder said, and that was definitely what we saw. And I kind of like that, because then it's nice and small. We can have the water, you know, that go in there. And then we can connect a shaft to it, and we can see that the shaft rotates as well. I think that the next thing that we would need to create to do this, let's take the reward from that. Oh, a dark oak sapling. That's great. We need a gearbox. So we're trying to change the direction of the rotation. So a gearbox, you just take an andesite casing and surround it with cogwheels. And then you have the ability to switch from vertical to regular gearboxes. So one andesite casing, but we need to make 4 more cogwheels. So were they made with the casings? No, it was just planks. It is really great that there's a thing in the game to show you how to do all the recipes for Create, because there's so many that it is very easy to forget them. So that's going to happen a lot. Oh, we got an oxide daisy. Okay, so the gearbox. Let's just look at the ponder for that so we can see how it works. So this is showing that if we want to do different axes, it can be very bulky. So if we want to change the way it goes in different directions, we need to use a gearbox. I see. So it's going in. It's basically like we're doing the... Go back in and look at that again. This structure it shows us at the beginning. Basically, like we're taking this box, these 4 gears, and we're condensing it down into a single block to do it, which is pretty cool. And then it shows us how the rotations will change. So across, it's going to be the opposite, and it's going to change on the other sides as well. So we need to be aware of that, so that we'll have to do some things to switch it. But that also means that if we need to rotate, if we need to switch a rotation, all we have to do is put a gearbox in between the shafts, and that will allow us to change it. Now, to do a vertical change, we need a vertical gearbox. Now, the vertical gearbox, if we can see, I think I'm going to need to make some more shafts. The shafts were, again, just 2 andesites. So now we can see we have taken the rotation from the water wheel, and it's now going this direction. And so let's take this one off. I don't need that one. Our first thing we want to do is get this mechanical press set up. So now you can see the mechanical press is rotating from that water wheel. So let's take a depot and put it underneath. A depot is basically like a place where you can put something down so that you can put something on it to interact with. So let's take 1 iron ingot, place it on there. And now you can see, because we have the rotation from the water wheel, the mechanical press will do its thing. And it creates us an iron plate. We got an advancement for that. It's pretty cool. Oh, we got an iron wand that we got earlier. We'll take the reward from that. Our cobblestone generator we never took the reward for. Iron plate. To get the next step here, we need 16. So let's do that 15 more times. Now, the reason I did it the way I did, I wanted to show you can just do 1, or you can place a whole handful down. And what happens is the mechanical press will go down. It is smart enough to know what's there. It just does 1 at a time. So it's still going to take the time to press out all of them, but you don't have to put 1 down at a time. You can go ahead and grab them all. You can let them do their thing, and they will stay on there until you come back and grab them, which is pretty nice. let's take a look around and see what else we're going to need. We're going to need the copper plates to get into the copper things up here. The engineer's goggles. We need gold in order to make those. The wrench. We need gold to get into that as well. So now let's go back to one of the reasons we wanted to get into Create was so that we could make gold. And I had looked up to see the process for Create to make gold, but I didn't see, I don't remember what it was. So we're going to have to go through and see. It was with washing. Yes. So if we make red sand and we wash it, we get gold nuggets. And to make red sand, we can either hammer down crushed granite, which is probably the path we're going to end up setting up, or we can create it using blood in a oak barrel. But the millstone allows us to take crushed granite and turn it into red sand. And if we take granite and run it through a millstone, we get the crushed granite. And granite we can get if we, let's see, want to see if there's any more automated ways for us to make it. I think that we'll have to, I mean, we already have granite so automated in our other system, but our goal is we would set up a system that makes granite, and then we use the granite to make the crushed granite using the millstone, and then we use the crushed granite in the millstone, we get red sand, and then we take the red sand and we want it, run it through a bulk washing system, and then we will get dead bushes and we will get gold nuggets out of it. So that's what we're going to get gold. So I think that's what we're going to focus on trying to get to today. So the first thing we need to do is get a setup where we're going to be able to get granite. And I think that what I want to set up to do that, you see here, I'm going to need to go get another bucket of lava, because we're going to make another cobblestone generator, but this time it's going to be one in the world. So I need to go pick up a bucket of lava from our place over here. I think I moved all of that down into the basement, so I may not have set that back up yet. Let me see, did I do that? Yes, I took the whole thing out. I'll have to fix that hole in the island. And this one from where I took the sieves out. So it's going to take me a little bit to get the lava system set back up and get some lava out of it. So let's do that so we can get our cobblestone generator set up. Okay, I went and got our crucible and set it up. And I got some lava. I was looking through just to see different things that we would need in order to do what I was thinking. And I have realized that jumping straight into doing right into gold in this episode is a little ambitious. We have some things we need to get done way before that. So let's take a look in our book. A big thing we need to do is getting, we got the iron plates. Let's take our reward. An ME fluid storage cell. That's awesome. Big thing we need to do is this section here, item transportation. So let's go here. We'll take this one. There are item filters, chutes, item vaults for mass item storage, and mechanical belts. Mechanical belts is the big one. To get mechanical belts, we need dried kelp, which is made from drying kelp. And kelp we need to get from, in this pack, if we go back into our beginning quest, kelp sporophyte is something that we need to get. So we need to run sand through a copper mesh or a gold mesh or an emerald mesh. So copper is the one we can get that's waterlogged. So I need to make a copper mesh and I need to run some sand through it until I get this kelp sporophyte. So I do have copper cooking. Before I go do that, I want to put some of this down here just to get the copper plates, just because that's another quest we have. But if I take the copper that I have in here, let's take a look at copper mesh and see how we make that. Oop, I have caps locks on. That's made with a flint mesh, 6 copper ingots. So we're gonna go and do that to get some of the kelp, and we'll start growing some kelp. And then we're going to have to make a system to automate the growing of kelp, because we're going to need a lot of it. Because if we look back at our recipe here under create, to make one mechanical belt requires 6 dried kelp, and we're going to be using mechanical belts a lot. These are basically, let's see the pondering. This is what we use in order to connect up conveyor belts. So when, in the example that I was talking about, we're going to have a system where we have a mechanical breaker that breaks blocks using a pick, and that'll get us the granite, and the granite will then get crushed. That'll also get put onto a conveyor belt to lead it to another system where it will get crushed again to be turned into the red sand, and then the red sand will need a conveyor belt to run it past a mechanical washer, which is where we'll get our gold, which will drop onto a conveyor belt and get put into a storage of some sort, which means we're going to need a lot of belts. It means we're going to need a lot of kelp. And so what I want to do is get to the point where we have some kelp automated. So that's going to be the focus of our next episode. We need to get 16 plates for this. So I have 5 there. I need to do 11 more for this quest. Drop that down, let it keep doing its thing. And so that's going to be what we're going to do. We're going to focus on building our first automated machine in the next episode, which is going to be a system using Create to grow and harvest kelp. And then ideally, I want to have the kelp automatically get cooked into the state where we need it for the belt. So basically, we would take the kelp, and then using Create, since that's what we're focusing on, we can make a bulk smoking system, which is basically a fan that blows through fire, and it cooks the kelp. And then using the kelp, I can set up an automated packing system that takes the kelp and turns it into, oh, that's not what I want. I want automated shape crafting. So we can use the automated shape crafting to craft mechanical belts. So I'd like to make a system that starts with kelp and ends with us having storage for mechanical belts. That's going to be what we're going to focus on the next time. But for today, we're going to call it an episode. We got quite a bit done. We came out here, set up our alloy forge so we can get our andesite alloy going. We also got our first Create machine set up. It's a pretty simple one, but it uses the water wheel and some rotational force to do the mechanical press, which is pretty cool. Guess I accidentally picked those up. Didn't mean to. And there is a lot of Create stuff left to go, a ton of it. So we're going to be focusing on Create for quite a while, trying to get everything set up and learn it as we go. I'm not an expert in Create. In fact, this is my first time ever using it, so I'm probably going to make a lot of mistakes. If you see anything that we could do that would be more efficient, would love to see some comments about it. So one thing I could do is stop picking up the wrong things. But let's get these last 3 copper plates done, and we'll call it an episode for today. I hope you guys are excited to see some of the Create. I'm super excited to finally be playing it. Just one more to go. We're definitely going to have to get a system that moves a lot faster than this, and we definitely will. Things get pretty crazy and Create pretty quick. Okay, so that should be the last 3 that we need, which will give us the ability to finish this quest and get some sushi as our final reward for today, which is super exciting. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this episode, and we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.